China and India are buying Russian crude oil at a 40% discount. According to Bloomberg today, China and India are buying Russian crude at a whopping 40% discount, and Moscow may be losing $4 billion in energy earnings every month as a result of its conflict in Ukraine. The easternmost members of the European Union, including Poland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, argue that the proposed $60 to $70 a barrel for Russian crude is too generous and significantly higher than the prices Russia currently sells crude, which prevented the European Union on Friday from reaching its agreement on a price cap for Russian oil. Vice President for the European Commission, Valdis Dombrovskis, confirmed as much, saying if you put the price cap too high, it doesn't really bite. Oil is the biggest source of revenue for the Russian budget, so it's very important to get this right so it really has an impact on Russia's ability to finance its war, is what he told Bloomberg TV. They are right in that providing a $70 per barrel for Russian Urals is very generous, given that China and India now purchase them for less than half the price, according to a recent Bloomberg report. Julian Lee, an oil strategist from Bloomberg, claims that at the end of the previous week, the world's most popular crude oil, Brent crude, was trading at a steep discount of $33.28 per barrel, approximately 40%, to Russia's flagship Urals crude oil. Compared to Brent, Urals were trading at a far smaller discount of $2.85 a year ago. Russia's primary blend exports is Urals. The end effect, according to Bloomberg's calculation, Moscow may be losing $4 billion in energy earnings every month as a result of its conflict in Ukraine. Washington is not losing sleep over this. If Russian oil is going to be selling at bargain prices, and we're happy to have India get that bargain, or Africa or China, it's fine, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen previously told Reuters. Greece and other shipping nations support a higher price cap because it will keep trade open. However, the EU sanctions on Russian oil, slated to take effect December 5th, and market disruptions anticipated if a price ceiling is not in place, the position for Russia could get even murkier. According to reports, Russia is currently developing a presidential order that would prohibit its companies from selling their products to anyone who takes part in a price cap. Surging imports from Russia, even though it had to import crude oil to meet 80% of its needs. India had never been a major client for Russian crude. India typically imports just 2 to 5% of its oil from Russia, which is about the same amount that the United States did before to its announcement of a complete ban on Russian energy products. In fact, India bought only 12 million barrels of Russian crude oil in 2021. Instead, it obtained the vast majority of its oil from Nigeria, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. However, news of a significant uptick in Russian oil shipments to India first surfaced in May. In the first 3 months following the invasion, India spent almost $5.1 billion on Russian oil, gas, and coal, which is more than 5 times the amount it did a year earlier, according to Bloomberg. The largest consumer of Russian energy products is China, spending $18.9 billion in the 3 months in May, nearly twice as much as it did a year earlier. And it's all about the money. The International Energy Agency, IEA, reports that since the war started, Urals crude has been provided at record discounts. Ellen Wald, head of Transversal Consulting, reported on CNBC that a few commodity trading companies, including Glencore and Vitol, were providing discounts of $30 and $25 per contract in the early months of the battle. Today, the government of India motivations are economic, not political. India will always look for a deal in their oil import strategy. It's hard not to take a 20% discount on crude when you import 80 to 85% of your oil, particularly on the heels of the pandemic and global growth slowdown. Samir Kapadia, head of trade at government relations consulting firm Vogel Group told CNBC. Nevertheless, it won't come as a surprise to many readers that India and Russia have maintained a friendly relationship over the years, with Russia providing India with up to 60% of its military and defense-related equipment. Russia has also been a critical ally on critical matters like Pakistan's claim to Kashmir and India disputed with China. But hey, this is just the fault of China and India. It's not just their fault of China and India. According to reports, well, supplies of Russian pipeline gas, which made up the majority of Europe's gas imports prior to the Ukraine conflict, are currently at a trickle. The continent has been eagerly snatching up Russian liquid natural gas. Since Russia invaded Ukraine, the European Union has made a concerted effort to wean itself Russian energy supplies. Russian oil and coal imports will both be banned by the European Union by the end of this year in an effort to deny Moscow a crucial source of funding for its conflict in Ukraine. However, switching from Russian gas is proving to be more difficult than Europe had anticipated. While Russian pipeline gas supplies, which made up the majority of European gas imports before the Ukraine war, are at a trickle, Russian LNG is being eagerly acquired by Europe. According to Wall Street Journal, in the year leading up to August, the bloc's imports of Russian liquefied natural gas increased by 41% year over year. Russian liquid natural gas has been the dark horse of the sanctions regime. Maria Shagina, researcher, fellow at London-based International Institute for Strategic Studies, told Wall Street Journal. Importers of Russian natural gas to Europe have argued that these shipments are not covered by the current EU sanctions and that buying liquid natural gas from Russia and other suppliers has helped keep European energy prices in check. This is by Great Game India. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.